the Gallery Sikabonyi in the very heart of downtown.
It's a full screen and it's clear and you can hear it.
We need to
Great.
mute
I'm
everybody.
gonna mute, John,
Yeah,
I'll
hold
mute
on.
everybody.
And mute everybody.
John, unmute yourself.
You just muted me. Okay. Andre is with us. He's going to be making a presentation from his gallery. The Gallery Sikabonyi is located in the heart of downtown Old City, Vienna, and is one of the few galleries in Central Europe that is only showing glass. And he is going to be presenting today a talk that highlights some of the optical glass that is a specialty of some areas in Central Europe. So if you have questions, please use the chat. We'll try and keep up with you on that. It'd probably be best to save most of the questions to the end so that Andre can kind of get through the presentation. But if something is burning, if there's a way you can get to my attention, if you notice down at the bottom of your screen, if you click, there's a thing called reactions. And there's a place that you could maybe show me a thumbs up, and that would indicate to me that you have a burning question that I need to pay attention to. So without further ado, let me introduce Andre Sikabonyi. Andre?
Hi, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, so
Thumbs
far.
up if you can hear me.
Yes.
Wonderful. Hello, everybody. It's phenomenal to see all of these wonderful people here. I'm totally excited. I'm thrilled to share my passion with glass with you. John, thank you so much. I have to short call out to Diana. Thank you for your wonderful words. I appreciate that very much. We had a tough year last year with a lot of problematic situations. Linda, I see you here too. I see Peter. I apologize. There's so many names on the screen and I can't say thank you for being here to everybody, but I appreciate that everybody's here to share with the passion with glass. And yeah, fantastic. Oh, Kathy. Hi, Kathy. I see you down to the right-hand corner. I'm just going through the names really quickly. So if I missed anybody, I'm sorry. All right. But we're here not because of me. It's for you and to enjoy this class. I really tried to do my best to do a great presentation. I have my friend here. We've got a lot of cameras here. So I'd like to invite you just to keep this in mind. In case in the next couple of days you saw things that are really interesting and it inspires you, we can do a private Zoom presentation of individual pieces. We can go through it. I invite you to that. Okay. I'm Andre Sikabonyi. Me and my wife, we started this gallery over a decade ago. And let me just make a short presentation about who I am. It's not that interesting, but you know, just for the record. Let me see, does this work? Oops, that went too fast. So here we go, should work. I was born in Canada, Calgary. I'm Canadian, believe it or not. Moved all the way to Europe, Central Europe with my family like a gazillion years ago. Central Europe, right in the middle, Stephenstone. Probably important, Riesenrad, very important part of Vienna. That's the Majesty Palace, the opera, right in the center of Vienna, a wonderful Sachertorte. That's the Kohlmarkt. That's like dead center in the city of the town, major shopping mall, where my wife and I, we created this wonderful gallery where we focus only on contemporary glass art. And so you have a slight overview of where I came from. Okay, what are we gonna do today? I'd like to invite you to take a look at some of my key artists that I have here. And I have to point out a lot of my buddies out there like Peter. I'm sorry, I can't present everybody. There are major pieces I have from the major artists, Peter, Zora, Michael, Wilfred, I don't know, you know them all anyhow, but I was invited to maybe show some odd different pieces you might not know. And so I'm gonna take this opportunity to apologize to all my key artists where I've sold a lot of pieces and they're really great. And I hope we have some time to focus on some masterpieces on them. Okay, what are we gonna do today? Number one, let's rock and roll and have some fun and just take a look at my key artists. I'm going to take a look at some optical glass artists that I really focus on the last couple of years, the Central European optical glass movement. They have a different way of articulating their way of presenting the glass. It might be fun. I'm going to look at some Austrian glass artists, then some odd artists that I just picked up that I think are young, interesting artists that you might not know. And on the very end, I'd like to invite you to take a look at a piece that actually got me inspired to get into being a gallerist. I'm a geologist. I was in the oil business. So why, so I bought a piece back from a client of mine, a very interesting piece. I want to show that to you. And I have 3 pieces of a series by André Jakob that really kind of, in that terrible year of 2020, kind of really got me inspired. I want to share that with you, and we're going to take a closer look and maybe share some thoughts about the piece. And if you still have the time and the cognitive power to, after we went through all these pieces, we'll take a quick zip through. We set up some pieces, and we can take a look at some other pieces that I've just set up for you to enjoy. All right. So now I'll put off my glasses because the glare on the glasses is not fun. In case you have any questions, I would appreciate if we save it to the end, but if it's pressing, I don't know, press the emoji or raise your hand. I hope I can register it. I'll try to answer all your questions and unmute, and we'll somehow figure out how to do the question. Solve the questions. Okay. All right, let's start. I've focused in the last couple of years on a very interesting glass movement. It's the Central European optical glass movement. And I want to pick out 3 artists that I did very well with, that I personally think are very interesting. And let me make a short presentation. We'll go through the pieces. And I'd like to take the opportunity then to show with my friend here, George, they'll go by and we'll take a look at the pieces live. So you actually get to see what the pieces can do, because a 2-dimensional picture sometimes doesn't express everything it can do. Okay, so let's start with André Jakob. I hope you see the presentation. This is André Jakob, interesting chap. I just got this piece in today. He was working on it very hard. It's the male piece. And he basically, okay, let's start with this little short video so you see what it takes to make a piece. A piece like this takes like 3-4 months to finish. It's actually not that, I'd shortened that video because it's actually not that thrilling, because all you see is him polishing it all the time. But the precision that goes into working on a piece like this is quite exciting and thrilling. And that was it. So you see him polishing. And I have a short video of him talking about, I had a nice friend who worked at the Dresdner Festspiele. He's going to do the voiceover, and let's hear what he has to say. So, this is working. Oops. Sorry, glitches happen.
I got to the glass through my father-in-law in the year 1975. He was working in the Slovak Academy of Sciences in the Department of Instrument Optics, and also in the Academy of Fine Arts and Design in Bratislava in the Department of Glass and Architecture. Here he was participating in the realization of multiple glass art pieces for glass designers, and I was his assistant. This is how I got knowledge and skills in the field of glass processing, which was very essential. Through this work, I had access to the machinery, which was in the past regime a little miracle. The fascination of glass got me, with its characteristics, which only few materials have. We had worked almost exclusively with optical glass, which has its specific characteristics regarding purity, colority, and properties. It's necessary to say, during that period, this glass type have been produced for military applications. At that time, there were not such possibilities like today. We had worked on machines and tools which we made by ourselves. This only forced us to be more certain in our work and be more creative. At this point, I have started with my own creations. By working with glass, it is necessary to have plenty of patience. Every mistake will...
I'm sorry, I have to pause right now. I'm seeing somebody else's screen online. Is everybody else seeing that too, or is it only me?
how'd that happen?
We're seeing it.
Yes,
all-
we see it.
And we're
Yeah,
frozen.
we see it.
I don't know whose screen it is.
Okay, now we got you. We're back.
Okay, you missed half the video, but it's okay. Don't worry. The pieces are more interesting than what he has to say. Let's go into that. All right, let's just
But
continue
it's
the
not
video.
full screen.
Sorry?
But you're not full screen, are you?
I am full screen now.
Share the
Um,
screen. Share the screen.
All right. That wasn't my screen that you saw before, so I don't know what happened. So basically, okay, now we're back to a black screen. Let's just go back.
Oh.
All right. Okay, something happened. That wasn't on my side. That was somebody else's screen. I don't have AOL. I didn't even know AOL still existed, if I'm
Okay.
quite honest.
Yeah,
All right. What I'm going to do right now, we're going to go through Andre Jacob's work. And I'm going to describe different techniques that he uses, what actually makes a piece more interesting. I'm going to go through the slideshow, and then with some time, we'll just go through and take a look at the piece's life, so we can take a look what the pieces can do. And so let's take it away with the presentation. So basically, we can say we have 3 types of ways he likes to work. He works with transparent glass, and he fuses pieces with colored powder glass in between, like this piece. We'll actually take a look at that a little bit later. The nice thing about his pieces, and generally the optical pieces, they are phenomenal with the way they work with the dimensions. And that really gets you to think about what glass can do. The other way he works, he with metal inlays. This is with gold. We have this piece right here. We're going to take a look at that later too. A mixture of metals. This is gold and copper. And then like a solid piece, like this is the pendulum I have right here. We're going to take a look at that too. The Montgolfiera, a fantastic piece, a nice pyramid that has incredible reflections on the back. All right, so that's already the next artist. I want to take some time. I'm going to ask George to come in here to take a look at the Salvador. And he's going to work right into it. And that's the piece I showed you before. It's nicely beveled on the bottom. So without any other technical influence, it rotates on its axis. It's got a fantastic, it's an Alexandrite glass, so it changes depending on the color of the light. And at certain angles, let me see if we can get it, you just have this incredible reflection on the back. So this is what I love about the optical glass. It gives it a little bit of a multidimensionality inside the piece. You get a certain depth inside. It's actually a centerpiece. You can, it's nice no matter which way you take a look at it. And I think the way, in comparison to the other optical glass artists, Oliver Lesser, that I love a lot, and Pavel Kloschka, it's a different way of working with the optical glass. It's maybe a little bit softer, okay? So the next piece we want to take a look at is, if George can move over here, he's going to take a look at this piece right on my right-hand shoulder, is with copper and gold. And one thing I like to point out about his pieces, some pieces are, what is a good piece and what is an excelling piece? I think that's maybe the job of a gallerist for you as a client that is interesting. Okay, there are all these pieces are fantastic, but some of the pieces just come out a little bit better. What makes the difference? So generally, this part is cut and it's laid with the copper and gold. And depending on how this angle is, if you have my hand here, this angle changes, okay? And depending on the angle, you have this incredible reflection on the back. So it's actually, even with the video, it's difficult to recognize what part is, that's it, that's the piece. And then if you go into depth, you get a nice, wonderful reflection, and the whole thing multiplies and it gets an incredible depth. And it's multidimensional. You walk by the piece and it changes every time. I want to show you a piece that I just got in. It's with coppered layers. It's called Mail. It's a very tall piece. George, if you can go to the tall piece right now. It's a really stunning piece because it's rather tall, which is difficult for him to make, that we saw on the video. It looks like waves of water that go into the depth. It just continues. I think what fascinates me about his pieces is actually the softness that he puts into the glass, because optical glass can be maybe sometimes very clear and maybe a little bit cold in a certain way. And through the metal inlays and the powdered glass, he gives it a certain touch. And the multi-dimensionality in the pieces are just absolutely stunning. So if we move on, that was like the wave piece, and this is the sand dune piece. I love this piece. Also, I love the color. I have a couple of pieces with champagne colored Corning glass. It has a nice little touch of, well, champagne color, I would call. This is 24 karat gold inside here. And it's at one point, there is only that one layer, and the further you go, you just see it actually works into infinity. It's just fun piece. We'll be taking a look at some other pieces. Thanks, George. A little later on that are actually very interesting. Now I want to continue with the other amazing optical glass artist that I have in my portfolio is Oliver Lesho, Paweł Chloszka. I'm going to start with Paweł Chloszka. That's him. That's the eye. I love that. I have the piece here. We're going to take a look at that a little bit later. It's a really fun piece. It's just a small little ball with mirror pieces inside. It's tantalizing. It's fun to play with. It's an enjoyable piece. And he's got a way of, maybe the contrast between Chloszka and Oliver Lesho. Oliver Lesho, for me, he's the architect. His pieces are in the position that are really fine and clear. And Chloszka is quite similar, but there's a little bit of a playfulness in his pieces. I like the way he toys with the optics and clarity and the contrast he puts in between. I have this piece, it's called Dots. It's a fun piece. Like I said, it's a slight playfulness. It also rotates on its axis because it's beveled on the bottom. We can take, if we have some time, if you still have the focus to go with me through the gallery, we can take a look at that piece a little bit later. And this is a dichroic piece I personally love very much. It's sold. I hope to be getting another piece like this in the near future. The next photo you will see is the same piece, but from a different angle, and it absolutely changes. You know, the dichroic is wonderful. It bevels on its axis. You turn it, and it absolutely different. Unfortunately, I can't show this piece, but I hope to have a similar piece within the next 2-3 months. These pieces just take awfully long to make, and I have to point this out because this is a wonderful pyramid piece. This is a thing about what I like about the Central European optical glass movement. It's very reduced. They play with the subtleties of the glass that's intrinsic in the optical glass, the clarity and the reflection. So it's very reduced. It bevels on the surface. We're going to take a look at that. It's mind-boggling. You look in there, you look into the future. He's one of the few artists that really makes very tall optical glass pieces. I've ordered this piece. I'm still waiting for it. With all this lockdown the last year, unfortunately, I can't present it this year. It's how many? That's like 6.6 feet of optical glass with mirrored layers in between. I actually think I have, yeah, it was in the Coburg Museum in 2015. There was a shorter version of that with champagne colored. And here's the process. You kind of see these are all the glass slabs. He layers them with different metals, chrome or whatever. So you have the mirroring effect. And then it's a tedious process of gluing each step, what you call chemical bonding, the chemically bond. I'm not actually looking. If somebody has questions, I apologize. I'm so focused on this presentation that I can't see everything. So maybe we can do that on the end. So you know, it's successfully building up every stage to get to the 6.6 or almost 7 feet tall piece. So here you see this is the final stage of a champagne color piece that I hope is going to be done for a client of mine very soon. And it's just manually polishing it. It just takes forever. It's like a year's process and then it's done. There's a lot of love and attention that work goes into every piece. So that's should be the live picture of it that I don't have right now. So I would like to take the time and ask George to come over here, and he's going to walk over here and we take a quick look at the eye. And I hope Apple is not going to sue me for calling it I because of the iMac. So it's a small little ball. he cut out, and what always fascinates me about Oliver Lesch's and Pavel Kloschka's work, even if you put your fingers across the areas that they put together, you can't feel nothing. It's like it's one piece. It's absolutely, I don't know how they do it. Whatever I glue in my life, only thing I glue are my fingers, not whatever I'm trying to glue. And these are very high grade glues, so they're impervious to any problems that you might find in sunlight. So this has a lot of, this is mirroring on here, 2 different layers of mirroring on 3 different areas. And it's like the ball that you can take and look at the future. Talking about the future, we'll take this is champagne color too. This is what I call the pyramid. It's beveled, so it rotates on its axis too. And it's hard to describe because when you take a look inside it, you actually see everything in the room reflected inside it. So it reflects every corner. It's absolutely reduced. And it's a wonderful piece just to have in between other pieces because it just lives on its own. It's solitary. The next piece I want to show you is, for me personally, interesting because we can contrast that with a piece of Oliver Lesso, and you can see a little bit the difference about what they make. This is the fractal piece by Pavel Kloschka. He works with mirroring too. I personally like it that he kept the bottom side absolutely clear, so you have the contrast between what the object is trying to do. You have this transparency that reflects other things, and the mirrors here reflect, even difficult to do it live, you see all the reflections through the mirroring in there. It's a solitary piece. Thank you, George. So I don't know what time we're running, so if I'm going a little fast, maybe point that out, but there's so much I want to show you, so let's just get it rolling. The next one, artist I really want to show you that I personally like very much is Oliver Lesso. I love his precision. I love the way he's very architectural. So when you take a look at his pieces, you have the feeling you're looking at, I don't know, skyscrapers in New York, you're driving by. We'll take a look at a couple of pieces. And the precision in which he works is absolutely phenomenal. So let's take a look at his presentation. He actually made a short video for us that I just got yesterday. Thank you, Oliver. I had to build that into my presentation in the last second. Let's see what he has to say.
My name is Oliver Lesso. I am glass artist from Bratislava, Slovakia. Let me introduce my creative works.
That was it. Okay, we got to know Oliver Lesso. He raised a fascination for me also in the optical glass art because I saw his drawings, I saw his concept and the path, the way he gets to make a piece. And they're very multi-dimensional pieces and they're very complex. And it's mind-boggling. I always ask myself what goes on in their heads to actually create a piece. But mind you, that counts for all these artists, including you, Peter. I don't know how you guys do it, but you have a phenomenal way of expressing yourself. So let me take a look at a couple of pieces by him in our little presentation that we have here. This is a champagne color piece. It's an earlier piece. We'll see how he works with the reflections there. I personally, is one of my favorite pieces. I think that's gonna be a Christmas present in 2021 when I'm happy. This is a solid piece I'm gonna present right now. It takes you in a different direction because you're not too sure what it does. And when you take a closer look, you'll see the bottom reflects on the top. Some of the pieces are intellectually challenging to take a look at them. As you see here, the detail that you're seeing on the top of the rim of the piece is actually what is on the bottom. So they take it a step further when they make the piece. This is a very early piece by him. I think it's like 2008. It was in Denmark in the museum. He actually, I think, won a prize with that. It's a very reduced piece in blue. I don't have it out, but I actually have the piece. And this is the pyramid. It's impossible to explain. Purity, big, large, reflection, matte on one side. If you take the time and we go through the gallery, I have the piece out and we can take a closer look at that a little bit later. Here, I tried to put it out flat. I have to say one thing, optical glass has one drawback. It's impossible to make a good photo of them. It's a different science. This is the fractal piece. I compared to Pavel Kloscher that we took a look before. And here you see the way he builds up the piece is quite architectural. And it's transparent in one side with mirroring going through on different levels. This is the back side. There are so many facets in the piece. When you take a look and you keep on turning it, you just recognize different fascinations in the piece. And it's, as I say, it's the purity. Again, you hear a little bit about his process. You see all the glass slabs. Each one of them are coated with a mirroring, whatever metals they take at that point, what color they want to achieve. So this is a piece that unfortunately I don't have here. We've got a shutdown in Europe, so it's difficult to show all the pieces. But I try to get all the pieces so we could take a look at them live, but Oliver was kind enough to make a short video of the piece. It's a tall pyramid. It was in a French museum and it just got back. And all the reflections you see along the column of the pyramid is worked in on the bottom. They're like, it's transparent. You take an angle further up and you get all those reflections. So I'm gonna ask George. Oh, okay, change cameras. George, you got me? Okay, we're gonna take a look at the piece by Oliver Leschaw. This is the fractal mirroring tower that is absolutely, yes, it is a contrast to Pavel Kloscher because it's architecturally built up. There's no contrast in the piece. It works with the mirroring and what it does by showing how it reflects the surrounding. So once you take a look into the piece, it's just absolutely phenomenal. It takes you deeper into the piece. That's what I love about optical glass art. It actually takes you a step further into the glass object, you know? You're not only looking at the form, you're looking at what the glass can do. And the next piece I'd like to show you is, like I say, I love it because it's a subtle piece. It's a champagne tower. He doesn't only also use chemical bonding, he uses also fusing techniques. The back part here is fused and matted. It reflects is only on the one side, and then if you walk to the other side, it reflects and it gets a whole, it looks like a skyscraper somewhere. And George, if you can just come close, go a little bit to your right, and then you can see the whole piece reflecting. And I hope you see it. And the color of the champagne color is absolutely, it's softer. You know, the transparent glass has the beauty of the clarity, and the champagne colored actually gives you a little bit of a softness in the object. And now we get to the wonderful piece that looks like a bowl that is not a bowl. Everything that you see on the top here is actually on the bottom. Those are fused pieces put onto this here. It reflects on the rim here. It's the aesthetics of the pieces of these artists is very reduced, but to the point. And the precision in which they work and the clarity is the beauty of the piece. And I hope you see that here in this live video, even though we have a lot of pieces crammed together. Thank you, George. Okay. Are you still with me? Thumbs up. Everybody, I hope you're enjoying this because I'm loving it. Okay, we're going to go into the next section, and I think that's a lot of fun because I'm going to talk about some of the Austrian artists that probably nobody has heard of. We'll just start off with a lady here in Austria. Her name is Sandra Fuchs, and she also made a little video, and I'll be showing two others. One is not really Austrian, he's actually German, but he lives in the way west of Austria in Vorarlberg, and we'll take a look at one of his pieces and some on the slideshows. So let me just take it here to Sandra Fuchs, which is an Austrian artist, and let's take a look, and it's quite different, and actually you see them on the back here, okay? Enjoy. All right, let's take it here. I hope this is, here we go. This is Sandra Fuchs. I call it very organic glass, or am I? Okay, I'm here. Organic glass, and you'll see why. This is, I think that when you look at our piece, it's the composition that really thrills me. You know, they're fused pieces. There's a fused plate in a nice piece of wood. We'll go through the pieces. Okay, what does she do? She pulls her canes in a very special way. It's actually quite interesting the way she does it, and she didn't allow me how to tell you how she does it. She wants to keep that a little bit of a secret, but it's actually quite interesting. And she cuts the marinis. So these are the canes that she makes, composed of all these different colors of glass. That's her pulling a cane, and this is her studio. I love it. I love chaos. Maybe that's the way I work. There are just hundreds of different canes. The cross sections of which she makes, you'll see them there on the side. You see all those different cross sections of the marinis that she makes. And then she's got this mirage of different, here you actually see she's puts all the canes together. She makes the drawings, and then she has to put all the marinis, and each one look different because the cross section of the way she makes it from the top to bottom look different. And then she makes her composition. And I think that's the beauty of it, because you take the time to consolidate a piece and make it interesting. So let's take a look at what I think, we got her right here. Let's hear what she has to say.
Hello, my name is Sandra Fuchs. I'm a glass artist from Austria. I'm living in a beautiful wine area 1 hour west from Vienna. And since 2013, I'm a full-time glass artist in the areas of glass blowing, fusion, and sculptural work. The way I came to the glass was not a straight one. I was always a person very interested in creative forms of expression. So I did silversmithing, I was working with clay, I was writing books. But one day I saw a picture of a glass dragon, and I was so fascinated. How is it possible to do that in glass? That I wanted to learn techniques to be able to speak in the language from glass. So over the years, after visiting a lot of institutions and other artists abroad, I had a huge range of techniques available to create my own style. I'm mainly working with kiln-formed marine. This is a technique which is in existence since 1992, so quite a young technique comparing the traditional way to create marine. It's also very different because I can change the pattern, the color, and also the sizes of the marine within one pulling process. It's very important for me to mix my own colors, to do my own color shades, because for me, colors are feelings. Colors show the mood of a piece at first glance. Colors are life. To incorporate rods with a core shade became a significant sign of my work. I did this course which show their inner life, because I also show my inner life within my pieces. And also these fine lines of thin stripes is a pattern I developed by myself. They look like the veins of glass. My pattern always have the movement upward, because for me it's a sign to never give up, always keep on going. It's a positive message within my pieces. My inspiration often comes from the power and beauty of nature. To stand in a landscape, just watching and feeling, breathing the incredible beauty inspired me to make the Takamaka collection, where I wanted to catch little pieces of paradise. My next collection will be the Fairy Tales and Legends collection, where I want to play with the colors of fantasy landscapes. The inspiration comes from the curiosity and fantasy of children, and I believe that we all have still this inner child inside us with a huge potential of imagination and dreams. So my pieces shall transmit positive energy. They shall transmit beauty and joy. About other future works, I made the experience that one collection often informs and inspires the next one. I want to stay free, I want to stay open. I'm an artist, I want to create, and life itself inspires most.
Okay, so everybody's still there? That was a little extensive video. I'm gonna go through her pieces on my slideshow a little bit, and we'll take a look at what she has right back here, so we can take a look at what she was actually talking about, so you see that live. All right, let me just go back to my slideshow. Let's take the next slide. These are her pieces. I have this piece here. Beautiful piece. The structure inside, that's the interesting thing. We're going to take a look at that a little bit later. We have some other videos, different, sorry, not videos, pictures here. The structure here in details. You see the way she works from top to bottom, all the different. It's a very creative process just to create a piece. And very colorful, almost something Klimt-esque maybe, you know, in the way she does. What she also does, she works together with a very famous glassblower in Murano. His name is Andrea Zilio. I personally like him very much. Not very many people know him. I had a couple of his art pieces, and she does the composition. He does the roll-ups and blows them. I actually have the piece here. We can take a look at that. And I think the vases are quite interesting, but they articulate themselves in a different way than her fuse pieces. So these are her pieces. This piece I have actually over here. Very nice. Isn't that an Italian piece with a long neck? Absolutely 100% Italian. Has a touch and breath of Lino. Okay, that's the next artist. I'm gonna ask George to take a look at these pieces back here, so we can take a look a bit at Sandra Fuchs's pieces live. So we'll start off with this piece. I personally like it's with opalescent glass on the back. They're fused. And if you go from top to bottom, you'll see each Morini is different. And this is what I'm talking about. The composition is the fun part. And it's a little off focus, George. You're going to have to take a step back. George is my friend and buddy. We're doing all this video work together. So, you see every Morini is different. They're cut out of every one of these canes, yeah, is actually the cross-section of all these Morini. So one of these canes has these colors that you see in the Marinas inside. And the nice thing is the structure here, she actually elevated that. That's a very neat, a nice work she did right now. It has a topography on the surface. So it's not only flat when you normally have a fused piece, so it actually comes out and it lives. So it gets a morphology. I actually convinced her to make a more solid piece. I love this piece. I think glass, the nice thing of glass, the more massive it gets, it has some type of sturdiness and representation. And she fused that in a very heavy white opaque glass. This piece is great with light coming from the back. This is nice with light coming from the front. And again, the structure you see, she takes a lot of time of going, you have the feeling everything's drawing you up. And we spoke before about the roll-ups she does. This is a vase she did. I took out this piece because I think it's a little easier to show. She makes the composition, they do the roll-up and they blow the piece together. And it's a subtle piece. And I personally think the fuse pieces, thanks George, the fuse pieces that she does is really representative of what she is and how she does it because it involves the composition. So that was my first Austrian artist. Let's go to the second one. His name is Herbert Schmidt. I personally like him very much. He, believe it or not, was a doctor who actually gave up his profession to become a glass artist. Unfortunately, he popped his back and broke it. So there are no more pieces. I have all of his current pieces that he has made. I don't know if he has any other pieces. What I like about his pieces, they have to do with balance. So you always see two pieces and they lean onto each other even though they stand individually. And it has to do with the relationship between people. So people lean on each other even though they can stand on their own, and they somehow in the combination get more strength. And I think that's a beautiful message, and the pieces are absolutely very reduced but beautiful. Let's take a look at them right now. Do you have him? Yeah, I think you can see Herbert Schmidt right now. Great artist. You see a piece I like very much. We'll take a look at different angles. I only have one piece right now to take a look at. It's a gray and a green piece. You'll see they're separated. They stand on their own, but there's a little notch where they kind of meet. So you see where they meet with each other. And they kind of, they're like pieces that hug each other. They're loving glass pieces, to say it in a very nice way. That's him working. I have to say, most of the equipment he made on his own. So he's very technically affin. He tries to polish all the surface with machinery he made. He works with a uranium glass. That's him. Fantastic too. I love that blue he uses with that uranium glass. It's really phenomenal. Here's the picture you saw before. This is the life piece. And this piece we're going to take a look at a little later. I like the round pieces. There's a certain dynamic in the round pieces that lean on each other. It's kind of dependent. And even though they stand on their own, but the dependency looks like when they touch each other, they need each other. And I think that's something we all want to hear nowadays. He also makes smaller pieces, wonderful, very simple, reduced pieces that kind of like columns that are just shrunk in time and space. So, all right, let's go take a look at one of his pieces I have over here. George, here we are. George, we'll take a look at this one piece. It's yellow uranium glass. This is, I have to point out, the colors change in the light. That's the wonderful thing about the uranium glass, even though uranium glass sounds scary, but it's, don't worry about it, So you actually see the two pieces are separate. They stand on their own, so they don't need each other. But when they hug each other, they unify into the composition that he makes. And the nice thing is, when you start walking around the piece, is that it's not only the balance, but the optic changes. So you see, and the light, when the light comes in, it changes the colors. They're fun. They're greatly interesting pieces because it takes you cognitively in a different direction, because you're asking yourself, which way should I place the piece? So if you have a piece like that at home, you tend to rotate it because you're not too sure which is the preferable way you want to present that. Thank you, George. So the next artist I'm going to show you is a fun guy. I love him. He's a little bit about a punk. He's really dynamic. He's got a lot of energy. He's tattooed from top to bottom, but the way he makes his pieces is very inspired, I think, by Peter Stacho. You'll see it. We'll take a look at his pieces right now. This is him. You'll see he's just working on the piece I'm going to show a little bit later. A piece he just recently made. Unfortunately, lockdown, I can't have it here right now because he's like in Vorarlberg, other side of Austria. Fantastic piece. He casts the pieces, he casts different colors. Not something you always see too often. I like that, with structure inside. The structure for me is so important within the glass because it takes you into the glass. You get a different perspective of what the glass can do for you when you put it into your environment. This is the twister, I think it's called. Yes, the twister. Wonderful blue uranium glass that I also have at Schmidt makes. Light goes through, it gets a touch of green inside. It's a fun piece. This is a tall piece. I think that's like 38 inches tall, with red and blue, with structures inside. Fun piece. Okay, let's take one look, George. Let's go back there and take a look at the blue twister. Can you see the piece? I hope you can. I'm gonna join George right here. So you see when the light comes through, depending, we try to put a nice spot on side that we get a little bit of different of the color. He gently puts a little structure inside. So it's not, this is a great piece because it's twisted. I'm trying to turn it a little bit. The structure inside, just this is the thing. It's not only the form, it's the structure too. And this is one thing, if you collect and you're passionate about glass, you get enticed about the color, you get enticed about what the form is and what the structure is. And this is the exciting thing about the next artist, because I think there's a lot of thought he puts into what he does. So those are the three Austrian artists I wanted to present today. And thanks, George. Where am I? Can you see me? Okay. I'm going fast. I don't know what time we're running. I'll take a look at the clock. I'm burning time, so I got to go quick. We got a lot to show. The next artist I like to show, because it's not only structure, it's not only color, it's not only the form, but the space in between. And his name is Giuliano Geiger. He's Italian, not Murano, where I started collecting. He lives in Milan, and we'll see what he has to say. So let me take you to Giuliano Geiger. Forms in glass. And I like that. You see, he takes a lot of time. Most of the artists, you also saw by Oliver Lesch and all them, they take a lot of time of, drawing, making the concept and see how it works. But I like this drawing because this is how it turned out. Phenomenal pace. And I think the next slide is going to be a video of him talking. Let me take it there. Yeah, that's him. Enjoy.
Mi chiamo Giuliano Geiger e mi occupo della fusione del vetro. Lo faccio da oltre 35 anni e le mie sculture vengono interamente realizzate nel mio studio che si trova nel cuore dell'Italia settentrionale. Qui vengono realizzati gli schizzi interamente a mano e il cartone in scala reale. Successivamente vengono realizzati i modelli, la parte ceramica, la fusione nei forni, la lucidatura, l'intero ciclo della realizzazione della scultura avviene qua in laboratorio. Molti sono i temi trattati in tutti questi anni di vita, del mondo, della natura, ma alla base dei miei lavori c'è sempre un tema che riguarda l'interiorità umana. Anche nel penultimo ciclo di scultura, che ho chiamato Circular Motion, si evidenzia il concetto del percorso intrapreso dagli umani, che cercano incessantemente il loro sé. È una spirale che ci ricorda la continuità ciclica e creativa espressa dalla rotazione. Attualmente sto lavorando ad un nuovo progetto rivoluzionario, completamente diverso, e che ho chiamato Space. La prima scultura l'ho iniziata i primi giorni di giugno, utilizzando un colore scuro, un rosso scuro. Volevo che l'occhio si concentrasse di più sulla forma e i vuoti e che non fosse attratto solo dal colore. Queste sculture che presentano un impianto grafico molto preciso sono caratterizzate da vuoti che mettono in dialogo lo spazio anteriore verso quello posteriore. Attraverso il vuoto passano dei messaggi. L'invito è quindi quello di non soffermarsi in superficie, ma di proseguire, di andare oltre, di approfondire, non essere superficiali. Con queste nuove sculture voglio rendere visibile ciò che non è visibile. Come nell'essere umano è il frutto della sua interiorità e spiritualità, resa visibile attraverso il corpo fisico, altrettanto l'interiorità e la spiritualità di queste sculture sono messe in evidenza attraverso la materia vetro dell'opera. Il soggetto, il protagonista, non è più la scultura, ma ciò che l'opera rende visibile, cioè la sua spiritualità. L'assenza diviene presenza. Con questo nuovo ciclo di sculture voglio continuare il percorso intrapreso negli anni 30 da Lucio Fontana alla ricerca della quarta dimensione. Non posso negare di essere completamente soddisfatto di questa nuova ricerca creativa. Grazie.
Okay, you're still with me. Good. All right. So you saw Giuliano Geiger. The way he works the pieces is not only the color, it's the form, the space in between, the structure that he makes. And the pieces you saw there I will have them pretty soon in my gallery. We're in Europe, we're in lockdown, so it's tragedy just to get the pieces here live for you to see. But I have the early pieces you saw before. And I want to point out, if you really like what I'm showing here, I also have a YouTube channel where we did extensive videos of some of the pieces. You can type in Gallery Sikabonyi, go over there, like me, subscribe me, you'll enjoy it. I'm gonna ask George to come and take a look at some of his pieces. I have 2 out there, and they're the dynamic pieces you saw in the very beginning. The one with the form and the space in between are the ones that are gonna be coming that you just saw in his video. So we're gonna take a look over here. And this is a great thing. It's not only that we're taking a look at a form, and it's the dynamic, the movement going towards the center. You have this, like everything that works in life where you have dynamic and movement, there's turbulence. And this turbulence he puts inside here. I love this piece. It's got this, when you take a look down here, it's not just only the movement that then goes into the center of the piece, you have the turbulence. And I think that kind of, for me, let's take a look at the back of the side of the piece so you can see how it is made. The back side is it's not so much of a 3-dimensional piece that you can take a look from the other, for all sides. Here you see the structure that he built inside. But this is the nice thing I like, is movement in life there's always a bumpy road in life. And this is the way I feel when you take a look at his pieces. And I love this blue one we're going to take a look at as the next one. Epitome of life. There's always a peak in life. The turbulences are slight, and you move and you get into the center. Very dynamic pieces. Oops. Got to watch out I don't fall over my own cabling here. He casts the pieces. He water cuts the pieces out. He polishes the surface. And you saw the way he takes his time to take the drawing, to get his ideas into the pieces. It's a really fun piece. And the third piece I'm going to show you is from I think it's 2015. It's 2 parts, Noi Due, the 2 of us. And the structure on the surface is iron oxide, so it actually looks like a petrified wood. You know, and he's got the glass in between. There are 2 parts. We can actually carefully lift it. Oops, well, that maybe was a bad idea. Don't want to break a piece live. That's not a good idea. That's might be interesting advertisement will go around. But so you see, he's got a lot of development in his work. And thank you, George. This is the thing when I have a lot of artists contact me and they want to work together with me. The first thing I ask them is for a portfolio. I'm interested about the history, what they do, how they got there, and the scope of the work. Development, as being a collector myself for many years, it's not the color, it's actually the thrilling thing. And if you look at all the top artists, Peter Bramers, I have to point you out there, look at the scope of his work. You know, you just go through all these things, all these emotions that they're trying to express. All right, enough of my ideas. Let's go on to the next presentation. And I'm going to be showing you some interesting artists that you might not know. So I wanted to introduce them. Oh, no, before I do that, let's just continue with the works from Geiger. These are the pieces you saw before. You can see this is what he showed there. I really wanted to have that piece here. I love the form that he put in between the space. It gives a different emotional feeling. This idea, he did a similar idea with a rough surface. This is a wonderful blue piece. It looks like a water wave crashing over you. It takes me away to my holidays that I couldn't have this year. This is a similar piece that you saw before, very structured on the surface. This is the blue piece we just took a closer look at. And this is a really big piece. Intensive structure on the bottom. It's a little bit more edge pass to get to your center. And that's the wood piece that we took a look on the end. Okay, I'm going fast. I regret this, but there's so much I want to share with you. And I hope you're still cognitively alive with me and your synapses are still working. If not, just take a glass of water because we're about 3/4 through. All right, let's take a look at the next artist that I have over here. And I'd like to introduce Marc Lepalier. I'm a geologist. I love nature. I'm a scientist. I just love the way he works with glass, and I'm going to tell you why. This is a very interesting piece. He has his lava structure, and he put that lava structure in a head. And it's really an emotional piece for me. Well, I didn't want to show it live because it's something that you have to take your time and the right setting to take a look at. This is the aquamarine. This is the other style he takes a look at. We're going to take a look at that a little bit later. He does the lava pieces. We'll take a look at that also because there's a lot of structure and a different way of working with it, taking a look at the piece because it's three-dimensional when you walk around it. And he worked through the whole lava idea. This is a whole different concept of the lava idea. And this is the emerald piece for your ladies who like emerald. And he put a nice little turquoise little top. You know, this is what I like when the artist put a little bit of a touch of something that distracts you from the center of the totality of the piece. So that little bit of blue just makes it a little bit of a difference for the whole piece. So, and we'll take a look. This is a fantastic piece with, it looks like a piece of wood cut through and you're looking at the rings. I would call the piece the rings of life, but the artist never asked me what I would call the piece, unfortunately. Okay, let's take a look at some of his pieces live. I'm gonna ask George to come on in. We'll start with the aquamarine piece over here. And these are details that I'd look at when young artists contact me. I want to take a look, not just the concept of the piece that, you know, on the surface might be very interesting or the depth of the piece, is that they take the time. If you take a look here, he just didn't leave the piece as an interesting, colorful piece. He took the time to cut in the structure. So the whole tactile part of the object gives it a whole different expression. So it's not just a block of glass with color inside, but the tactile surface, you know, there's orange, there's blue. It's fascinating with the bubbles in itself, but I'm actually fascinated about the structures that he put inside to give this piece a little bit of more depth. We'll take the next look. Maybe we just hop over to the emerald piece because it's right in front. This is the emerald piece. Can you see that? This is kind of an enameling surface that he does on the end. It gives it a very much of a rock type of look. It's a fantastic emerald. This is a piece that actually does very well when light just comes from the top. And we have the lights obviously coming from all directions, but not from the top. There's this nice little turquoise part here that puts it off center a little bit. It gives a very natural way of looking. Yeah, well, you know, I'm a geologist. That kind of rings a little bit in my heart. And this is a piece that I get really fascinated about because it's not only the right structure that you see in the front. He's given the whole thing this one surface on here. You really have it's like lava, you know, just coming out cool from the, you know, Hawaii. I think of Hawaii when I see this piece. It solidifies. He did a fantastic job of putting this enameling type of structure on the top here. It's like, you know, you just made a nice little cut through that almost basalt type of looking rock, and then this incredible pate vert in depth. And this is another piece where there's no light. It's just light from the front, and and you can walk around it, and it always has a different. If you have a fireplace, probably this is the best piece to have. It's absolutely, yeah, fun to enjoy in your everyday life. Thank you, George. I'll walk over there and put me back on camera one. I'm back live. Okay, all right. So that's my French artist. I'm gonna quickly go through two artists that I personally think are really exciting. All right, I just lost my thread here, so I'll just start my my slideshow. Okay, here we go. That's Dang Young Kwak. I found that he's a South Korean artist. His pieces for me are like rocks out of the river. He's got this Yeonlee kind of type of touch, laminated glass, glued, cut. It's very rounded off. Let's just go through the pieces and you'll catch on to what I'm saying. So many pieces you're seeing right now, I have some live, some not. They're stuck in South Korea, but they're on the way here. So this, you'll see the surfaces are all, it looks like it's running off like a piece of glass that was like in the river for 30 years and just waiting for somebody to pick it up. Like my kids do. They always, when they go out to the beach, they collect stones and I have to carry them home. different colors, different perspectives, different ideas. He goes into the length, gives it a different depth with a thinning, difference of colors, goes into the dark blue. This is the piece I have right here. I personally am fascinated about this piece because you always want to touch it. Those are the pieces that, you know, get you, that you always want to touch. Is he acid polishes the surface and sands them down so it has his matte look, so the colors come to the surface. All right, that was him. I'm not gonna go to the next one. We have one piece that we're gonna show. Oh, wrong camera. All right, here we are. Next, this is, and there's no light on it. Actually, if you have light on the coming from the bottom, it does a lot. It's just, it's absolute rounded surface. You, like I said, you always feel like touching it. There's a lot of, I give George the opportunity to take a look from different angles. So laminated glass glued together, and then he grinds it down, polishes it, acid etches it, and gives this kind of interesting, just see this perspective, it looks almost like a heart. Yeah, and through the masking of the surface, the colors come to the surface and it gets quite interesting. So we're almost there, everybody. You still with me? Thumbs up if you're still with me. All right, I don't want to bore you. I just want to excite you because it's absolutely phenomenal. I love sharing this. It's great. Okay. One person I want to share with you is called Ana Maria Navas. She's from Venezuela. And I'm sure nobody has an art piece from Venezuela because I never heard of her till I saw her pieces and I got excited about it. And she's got a very South American way of working with glass. I don't know if you can say that. I don't want to insult anybody. I meant it in a positive way. Okay, let's just take a look at what she does. I have quite a few pieces from her here. That's her. This is it's called ink. They're like ink blotches. I like the way she works with the glass because the color percolates during the fusion process. And what actually happens is that the color dissipates and makes certain patterns. And this is what you're seeing right here. So there are different reiterations of this kind of concept. This is one with pink, with the purple. This is a magnificent piece. It's with green aventurine. Difficult to explain. Anybody who's interested, again, I invite you, just send me an email. We do a private tour. I can show you whatever you want. I got tons of pieces. This is a tall piece by her, same type of an idea, but the colors come out differently, more dense. Therefore, the blotches you see, the light and the dark, it's just the percolation of the colors that move through the layers, and then it gets lighter and darker. Okay, well, that went one step too far. We'll take a look at a piece right over here. George, can we go over there? All right, here we go. And that's the piece right here. And as you can see, those are different color blotches. Can you get into the color a little bit, George? Yeah, excellent, fantastic. I'm glad he's doing this. I would not be able to do that. He's a genius. I shouldn't tell him. He's gonna get big-headed. So I'll try to turn it to the side so actually you see what's happening in here in the glass. So you actually, I don't know if you see it here, the color kind of, probably was the top, that's the bottom, the colors percolate down, and through this movement of the glass through the fusing process, so this is where the light part is where it moved away, and that's where it's stuck, and then you have these kind of different structure and it tips in. It's a toyful way. Why I call it South American? I think it's a very, thanks, George. It's a fun way of working with glass, and it just takes you in a different direction. All right, we're almost done. I'm gonna need a sip of water, and I'm gonna make some advertisement. This is my sponsor. I wish it would be. Okay, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna show you the piece. Okay, now we're actually done with the main presentation. I'm gonna end up with showing you the piece that got me into the glass art that I bought back from a client, and 3 very exciting pieces that I've really stimulated my head, and I'll give you some of my thoughts, even if they're abstract. And I apologize if you think they're abstract, but I think it's a fun piece to take a look at. And if you still feel like it, we'll take a quick walk through the gallery and take a look at some of the pieces I still have, if you're still up to it. Are there any questions? How can I see if there are questions? Anybody lift their hand? No. You want me to continue? Thumbs up. All right, let's just go on. Okay, all right, I hope you're having fun. I'm having a great time. I'm gonna ask George to take a look at a piece. I was very lucky, it was many years ago, Riccardo and Pietro Ferro, two young guys in Italy, Murano. I started collecting Moranese glass and I started buying their pieces, and I had the opportunity to sell them even though I was doing something else because my mother had this gallery here that I took over with time. And what happened is I bumped into these young guys and they did incredible pieces, very exciting pieces. And you might know Riccardo and Pietro Ferro right now. They do a lot of cold work in vases. But what they did then was quite different. They did fusing. And what they did, as far as I understood, and they told me, is they took pieces from other artists, whatever they did, the Morini, the filigrana, whatever, and they put them together, made a composition and fused it together. So I hope you're excited. You're gonna, George, are you ready? Take a big step back. Can you see the whole piece? Okay, keep the suspension going. You guys wanna see it? I wanna see it. Fantastic, huge plate. And I gotta point out, they were two young guys and they came up with this before anybody else did. George, take a step back so you see the whole piece. All right, here we go. That's the piece. It's really a tall piece, a long piece. And this, I'll just put my hand there so you kind of have an idea how long that piece is. There's a lot of detail. The exciting thing about this piece is, as you see, I think they're little parts from Salvador, excuse me. My Italian sometimes goes away. Just the whole composition. The pieces fall into each other. It's a fantastic, and it really got me excited because it's the first time I actually saw something like that in this way. I actually think they did this before Lino did. And Lino for me is really, well, obviously he's the master of glass blowing and everything in glass art. And I saw this piece and it's absolutely phenomenal. And I'm actually happy I bought that back from my client of mine. And it's absolutely fantastic piece. So thanks, George. I had promised you, and I want to invite you to take a look at some pieces by André Jacob. That for me personally was very inspiring this year, or last year, sorry, this year is too short, last year. It was a very exciting pieces. He did ideas like this before, and now he got into depth and he actually made a series of this idea. And I'm gonna invite George to take a look at this. And I'm not gonna say much. He's gonna go around the piece, take a look at it, and then I'll say something about it. And I hope you're with me and you'll appreciate it just as much. Okay, George, if you go over it, and with these are under Jacob, they're called the infinity cubes, and we'll take a look at them right now. I'm not gonna say much because there's not much to see. There's nothing in the piece. They're absolutely transparent. They only have some cut-ins, yeah, in different ways. If you look at the next, well, don't show them yet. Just show them nothing. Go to the big one, the next one next. So this is a different idea, same idea. There's nothing in the piece, okay? And then we take a look at the next piece that I just got today, a couple of hours ago. There's nothing in the piece. And this is what really fascinates me about glass art. If you're able to take glass and take the properties of glass and create the sculpture out of it, not because of the form, the color, or whatever, but what the properties of the glass can do. So if you take a look at the corner then, George's, I hope he can go into there. And what you see inside, all these endless reflection, it looks like a little pyramid. Can you zoom into a little bit? Excellent. It just goes on and on and on forever. And what it basically is, you see, he takes away a corner of the glass, or he cuts out, like in this piece, this tall piece, a curved part, and it creates this sphere, and this sphere just reflects itself endlessly. And the third piece I got today, he actually put 3 curves inside, and you have this bubbly, foamy soapy bath inside with all these bubbles. And now, what is it about it what really got me? If you think about everything, where everything starts in life, in the universe, or nothing, I believe Krishnamurti said one thing. Everything that bifurcates in life, everything that is a difference, is a reflection of the other. And I think that's an important statement, especially in times like this. We all reflect each other. And this sculpture only exists because it reflects something that has been taken out of the form. It was a cube, it was transparent, there was nothing inside. He took something out, and that what was taken away is reflected endlessly. And you can muse about this in different ways. It's almost like the human ego. Ego is reflected in million different ways, but if you take a look inside in the context, it's nothing, you know? And that's the beauty of the piece out of my perspective. Okay, I thank you, George. We're pretty much run to the end of all the fantastic pieces I wanted to share with you. Believe me, I have a million more to go. I would love to take you through all the other great artists. I have masterpieces by Zora Palova that I have to mention. She's very dear in my heart, and I'm gonna show you some pieces. And if you still are with me, we can take a quick walkthrough so we can take a look at her pieces. Peter Bramers, Michael Behrens, Latija, Wilfred Gruten's fantastic pieces I have over here. But today I was invited to show things maybe that you don't know. All right. Questions, question time, I'm ready.
Does anyone have
Great.
questions other than what's already been answered in the chat?
Peter.
Andre, maybe you can give an idea of the prices of the Jakob pieces.
I will, and you know what I'll do? One better. I set up a whole page for all you wonderful people out there. You're going to have a link. You can go to that link and you can actually have a wonderful discount. I'm going to do my best. You can take a look at everything. Generally, the pieces start around 5,000 euros, plus, minus, up and down, okay? Obviously, there are a lot of major pieces here that will be maybe around 7,000 to 10,000 euros, okay? Depending on the piece. There are some lower keys pieces I have from the younger artists that are lower. But I invite you, I'm going to show you the link. I'll try to post that in the chat. And you can check out my homepage. I put up a shop and you can go through nice photos of all the pieces. I try to do my best. And it's easy to handle in case you have the big desire to make me happy and buy a piece, great thing. If not, just enjoy the pieces, go through. You can click through, it's easy. All the payment methods and shipping and everything is in there for you. I spent my last brain ganglia trying to put that together because I'm no tech whiz, okay? So I hope, I'm gonna show you the link. Good question, thank you, Peter. Any more questions? Any hands up? Come on, challenge me. I'm here. You can.
Just a comment. We all want to visit you in Vienna as soon as we can travel again.
Sorry?
I said we all want to visit you as soon as we can travel again from the United States.
You're all invited personally. I'll have the best Austrian coffee, Sachertorte, and the best Austrian white wine to enjoy here. And you can go through the pieces, take your time. I would really appreciate it if the times come back to those times where we all can meet up together, enjoy that, but we all enjoy. And that's class, isn't it? Thank you.
Thank you again, Andre. Appreciate your time and effort and your enthusiasm.
Wait a second, John, I'm not done yet. I don't know. I don't want to take, I'm not done. You're not going to get rid of me that quickly. I want to share my passion a touch more because there are two things I have to do. I have to show you a short slideshow of Zora Palova and run you through the gallery with a couple of other things that I want to show. Is anybody for that? Or if you don't want to, just say,
well, what we'll do is anybody who would like to stay in can certainly do that, and others who have time commitments can say Wiedersehen for another day. So we'll go ahead and continue. Go ahead with.
Okay, good. Let me just go really quick. I have to mention Zora Palova. I have a fantastic interview. Before you go, I still have to finish my presentation. Here's a link. It's for all of you, especially done 1.5 months of my 55-year-old brain went into creating this homepage. So if you're interested in that, you can email me. As I said, email me or contact me if you want a private tour to take a look at the individual pieces. Here's a web page where you can take a look at the pieces that are that you can actually purchase should you desire to. And I did a couple of videos with my friend here, and we're going to continue doing that with wonderful interviews with a lot of the artists. Peter Bramers, I had a fantastic interview. It was a lot of fun. And I actually, before anybody leaves, there's something I want to share that was the most fun with Peter, because I'm fascinated about people like Peter who have such a broad knowledge of art. And he does so much. In light, in clay, you name it, he did it. And I had one basic question for Peter, and I thought it was beautiful the way he answered. And I asked him, why work with glass? It's so tedious, it's so difficult. And his answer was, why not? And I think that really summarizes the best way to answer it. Why not work with glass? Anyway, if you want to see further interviews, videos of pieces of artists, go to YouTube, type in Gallery Sikabonyi. I greatly appreciate every like and whatever, subscribe, or whatever you want to do. And we're going to have a continuous feed over the next couple of weeks. All right, quickly, I do want to continue just sort these out of Palava. She's very dear to my heart. I have a lot of masterpieces, and should you ever want to invite me again to do a presentation, I would greatly appreciate if you would like me to do another presentation. I would focus on some masterpieces, okay? And I do want to show some pieces from Zara Palava because she did so much for me. I did very well with her, sold a lot of big pieces, and I had this big presentation with some of her big pieces here, and we had lockdown. It was really sad. So I have this wonderful purple piece on the back here that's worthwhile to take a look at. There's a wonderful video of that piece on the YouTube channel. The details are absolutely fantastic. The rock cliff, if you still want to walk through the gallery with me, smaller pieces, the wave piece, I just have to show the pieces there. That's actually in the Corning Museum. Here you can see the molds that she's making. This is the piece that's back there. You see it's purplish in a different light. It's green. It's a borax uranium type of glass that changes color. You see that's a different color. Okay, we're done. Okay. Still with me? We'll just take a short walk through. We can take a look at some other pieces. No, we go this direction. I see a lot of people are fading out. We had like 83 visitors. Now we're down to 68. So I think I better pick up my pace. So George, are we on George? Yes, we are. Okay, we take a look at some of the pieces we still have here. I do want to share Zara Palava, fantastic blue piece. I need not say more about her pieces. This is the piece I did want to share is with from Oliver Lesso, one of his great perfectionist piece of, it's matted on this side, transparent on this side, reflects, you walk by it. It's a very important piece, beautiful. Michael Behrens, somebody you probably, I guess everybody knows. Andre Jacob Mongolfiera. This is the piece I talked about before that looks like wood structure inside, matted, everything by Marc Lepalier. Oh, he's still stuck on the other pieces. I'm too fast. Nice structures here, matted here. And I have to show this big tall piece. I'm just really totally excited about what du dich umdrehst, and we can take a look at the big tall piece. George is still going to walk through. Then that's Borkovich. You know, it's a small, nice, the icy piece by a small piece by Zara Palava. That's Oliver Lesso, small piece. Ruiz, Dutch artist. My Skyscrapers by Oliver Lesso. I wish I had more time just to focus on optical glass art. Maybe I should do that sometime if you still want. Stefan Palam, I have really fantastic pieces by him here, a tall piece, heavy pieces, very massive pieces. I have to point out, I have a really small gallery, so there's a limit to the type thing. That's Hloshka again, bevels on the surface, it's the dots, again, the playfulness. And a piece next to it that I really also like a lot, that's by our friend Michael Behrens. Okay, so thank you. Thank you that you took your time to be here with me, share our passion. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe I can come back if you should desire to. Thank you, John, for taking your time. Everybody, thank you for taking your time.
Thank you. Thank you. It was wonderful.
Thank you. Stay healthy and most of all, happy. That's my logo.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you
make
very
us happy.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.
Excellent.
Great presentation.
It was wonderful.
Any questions? Or what do we do now? We just log off or say goodbye? Or
Go to your website and look at all your beautiful work.
that's a great idea. Do that. Excellent. Thank you so much again for your time. I hope this 1 hour went quickly.
It
Take
did.
care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wiedersehen, Andre.
Bye-bye.
Auf Wiedersehen, John.